2050年的新加坡，你觉得它会长什么样
2050啊，哇！
In 2050, I see that our transport system is so advanced.
我觉得 by the time 我要退休，那个 MRT line 应该是复杂到我都不懂我在搭什么线了，就是可能每1-2个站就会有一个 interchange 这样子。
I would suspect that housing will still be pretty expensive.
We will have more robots in the future 咯。
很多的高楼大厦，然后就变成很多地方都很挤这样子。
华人呢会比我们楼更多，往上发展的地方有限，可能我们要逐渐的在地下生活。
车在天空飞，公共交通呢会向天空上发展。
What I hope is that we will still be a society that is not fractured, that lives in unity, not just with ourselves, but also with all other living things around us.
我会 recover from the debt everything。我的目标就是想做工就做工，不想做工那天就靠员工呢，我就不要去做工啦。
我有自己的一个小家庭，然后事业也跑上轨道，然后经济方面也稳定吧，这样子。
还是好好的一个人，很健康，还很有活力，而且对未来还是很有展望的。
2030年我30岁 ，Yeah, cause I'm a 2000 baby. I can imagine myself just working.
我62岁啊，我也不知道我变成怎么样嘞。如果我还在的话啦，我希望我不用出去做工，我可以快快乐乐的做自己喜欢做的事。
我会发展的很 smoothly in the direction that I want to.
I do hope I'll be perhaps maybe getting ready to settle down then.
那2050年呢？
哇，我还在吗？2050， 85嘞，可能吗
？61岁啊，我希望我已经在 semi-retirement 的状态。
I hope I can travel anytime I want with my husband.
我希望我的孩子会 take over 我的 footstep, like really give back to society.
哇，actually I cannot really foresee anything, but yeah, maybe on the verge of retiring really lah. I mean, 人生短短几十年，你要做工做到多久 ？Yeah.
家庭价值观那个一定要保守住，那个一定要的。现在离婚率也是蛮高的哦。以前我们多么不喜欢在这个婚姻里头有什么不满什么，我们都会坚持住啊，守住这段婚姻的嘞。可现在的年轻人是不一样哦，我不快乐，我就是离了，我不用怕的。
I think short term will be attracting talent to Singapore, but I think long term housing will be an issue. In terms of how much it costs, I think that's one big thing.
我会担心的是，很多我们的工作会被国外的人取代，因为他们的 labor 会比较便宜，这样子。
这些挑战是跟全球暖化有直接的关系的。那在这个可持续性的方面呢，我们需要更加强我们基本的一些设施。
Perhaps growing sense of a divide, I guess, between like people who may be older and those who are younger.
One thing would definitely be the support ratio. Given that many families now are even smaller than they were, the burden would be even heavier on the kids to care for their parents.
越来越多人不想生小孩。
我知道，等下我看起来很内疚。People are getting married later. When 你老婆可能到了一个 certain age, 你会想要 prioritize 她的 health over, maybe over having kids. Maybe I prioritize my wife's health more.
Personally, I think having kids is a very huge undertaking. Also, as a female, the burden of having a kid does fall more heavily on you.
This is the reason why many of us or some of us choose to stop at a certain number, right? Because we want quality, not quantity.
这个就会导致越来越多老人会越来越少，年轻人可以take on the workforce and make Singapore better 这样子。
青黄不接吧，再多几年下去，我们的人口老化问题会越来越糟。
think social isolation is a very big problem among elderly. Some of them live alone, some of them don't have friends. Not always about the amenities lah, it's about the time spent.
在一个社区里面，我们可以守望相助，大家都不要有太大的距离，可以跟自己的邻居啊，跟自己的家人啊，有更多的互动。
当孩子不在的时候，他们能够社区那边做一些活动，那么跟其他的老人家有一定的交流。
There need to be some sort of daily activity care for them. When they are at that age, right, they want attention, they want companion.
老人可以的话合作一点哦，时时哦，你有 handphone 的话，时时拿在手上，自己保护自己，有什么事就打电话。
Maybe in terms of whether they actually have enough money or do they have any financial concerns in their twilight years, that is something that maybe can be taken a look at.
我个人觉得新加坡蛮 inclusive 的，因为我们从小就生活在很多种族内嘛，所以大家其实都蛮包容彼此。
我是觉得 Singaporeans are going towards the direction of being very inclusive, right, to special needs, LGBT, and also old people.
I think people need to be less judgmental of each other. I think 我们最近也是有看到这个现象 right? Whatever thing that is posted online, judgments will be made immediately. Sometimes it's correct, sometimes it's wrong. So I think in terms of inclusivity, in terms of understanding each other, I think there's still some obstacles to cross 啦。
可能更多不同外来的不同的种族的人啊，不同国家的人都来到新加坡，我们会觉得一时之间接受不来。
Still more can be done to give people the dignity to live.
可以说一半一半哦，老一辈的就不容易包容哦。以前的老人怎么不包容啊？你同性恋，你跟他讲，他能包容吗？啊，那你看外地你进了这么多 foreigner 进来，他们可以包容吗？不可以。我怎么包容啊？我盖上我2只眼哦，啊不边也是要包容哦。
我跟你讲，我现在有时拿了拐杖去公共场所的时候啊，年轻人未必会让你过，他们还是从你后面冲过来，那个是很危险的一个问题。
Of course, I think the LGBTQ lah, yeah, because I think Singaporeans nowadays, because we are still having the old mindset of like not accepting this group of people, and I think it's not really right lah, because they are humans as well lah, so we should treat everybody equally.
From my interactions with students who are hearing impaired or students who are deaf, some of the problems that they shared with me, I think still shows that we have a ways to go. Like in terms of like struggles to find even like employment for like a part-time job.
Maybe probably the area that we need to be more inclusive is the migrant workers in terms of their transportation. Why can't we give them a proper transport home? Like why must they sit behind the lorry? Congested, non-aircon, right?
我们的 future, right, is determined by the government.
Not everything has to be government implement this or to have to teach you, then you can learn, right? I mean, 新加坡的未来，我是觉得每个人都有责任。
我越来越觉得说，政府的责任啊，是要把我们的社区啊，把我们的基本建设做好。然后呢，人民的贡献啊，是越来越重要的。
政府可以有他的远见，看到应该怎么去做。但是，假如我们人民不去响应的话呢，就失效了。
如果我们看政府怎样 operate 的话，我们都挺清楚的啦。他们不是一个会给你鱼吃的人，他们会教你怎样去捕鱼。
他们的现在 Gen Z, right, 真的会顾自己
啊？对呀，你问他们什么都不关我事啊，他们就说不关我事啊。啊，那你不担心未来吗？担心未来做什么？我只要过好今天就好。
Collective responsibility 他们是有的，只是他们对社会的一些表达方式啊，跟我们有一些距离，有一些不同。
不会啦，不会比较 selfish 啦。when 每个人在吵 chicken rice 是谁的，还是nasi lemak是谁的，他们也有参与嘛。
I don't think we are very self-centered because as a Singaporean male citizen, I do my 2 years army and so like yeah, I don't think it's very self-centered. If the government don't even want to implement this kind of thing, I think as a male Singaporean citizen, I will still give back to Singapore lah.
Many of the youth around me, like they are like engaged with like social issues and they have their own opinion about it, and they don't just like stop there. They're like they put their like thoughts and words into action.
This is tough. I guess like a home for all.
我希望未来的新加坡是很厉害的，
人民可以安安稳稳的生活。
希望新加坡长长久久。
我希望未来的新加坡会是一个很坏的地方。
Resilience,
safe.
A livable Singapore for anyone and everyone. People don't have to stress about like rising costs or rising housing expenses.
希望新加坡以后会有一个很好的社群。When the community is strong, everybody will prosper.
I think dynamic, yeah, because Singapore's such a small state that it's kind of very hard for us to exist without considering other like geopolitical factors.
Just less competitive and also just be very happy and grateful with whatever that we have on our plate right now. Yeah, so everyone live happily ever after.